here at the College Perk Coffee House for hosting this event, especially Stuart Mahler for putting us on the schedule today. What we're going to do this afternoon, we're going to be here till about 5 o'clock for the first hour. 3 different local writers are going to be talking about books that they have written. First up, we'll have Catherine Donaldson talk about her novel, The Captain's Marshal. She'll be followed by Cassandra Zaruba, who will be talking about her murder mystery, Liquid Bones. And then I'll finish things up talking about the biography that I wrote about one of rock and roll's greatest legends, Jim Morrison. That book is called The Lizard King Was Here, The Life and Times of Jim Morrison in Alexandria, Virginia. For the second half of the afternoon, we'll then have an author's reception where you can come up and ask the writers anything you like about their books and browse through the books and possibly even purchase a signed copy if you like. While we're doing that, there will be incredible live experimental jazz music by Cliff Art. They'll be playing here. And again, we'll be here till about 5 o'clock. I hope all of you will stay and hang out with us. It should be a great afternoon. First things first, without further ado, Catherine Donaldson will be talking about her novel, The Captain's Marshal. Catherine.
Hey guys. Well, like Mark said, my name is Catherine Donaldson, and I am talking today about my novel, The Captain's Marshal, which is an untraditional pirate story. I live in northern Baltimore, and so it was quite an unpleasant voyage for me today in the rain and the traffic and whatever, but I'm very excited to be here. And so let me just grab my book and we'll get started. Well, first of all, I'm going to start off talking a little bit about myself. I'm 24 years old. I went to college at Western Maryland, which is now called McDaniel. I went to school for film and TV, so it was a little unexpected that I went into the written word, but my mother was a reporter, and it seemed pretty natural to me at the time. I was on a vacation with my family in North Carolina, and I was teaching my cousin all about the local pirate history. We were down by Ocracoke Island, which is where Blackbeard sailed, and she found it so fascinating that I thought, well, this is something I can write about, it's something I know about, it's something that I'm passionate about, and if my little cousin will listen to me, so will everybody else, right? So, let's see. And by the way, I'm definitely not going to be talking for 20 minutes, don't worry. Okay, so the story has a very basic and universal theme. What do we all want when we're growing up? I mean, we're under the thumb of our parents, of society, everybody's telling us what to do and what to be, and all we really want, the reason we go to school, the reason we dig ourselves into debt to get that first apartment, to get that great job, is freedom. I mean, that's what I wanted, that's what everybody else wants. And it wasn't always as easy as it is today. Historically, women especially had a very hard time finding their place in the world. They would go from being subservient to their families directly into a marriage of some sort, be it arranged or otherwise, but they never had that free period in their lives where they could just live and be as they want. On the other side of the spectrum, pirates are the epitome of freedom, right? They're roaming, they're wanderers, they do whatever they want, whenever they want, and God, I'd kill for that kind of freedom. And certainly the characters in my story would have as well. They were 2 cousins, heiresses of a shipbuilding company, and they had just found out that they were going to be entered into arranged marriages. They weren't very pleased about this, but being heiresses from a relatively sheltered life, piracy was the farthest thing from anything they ever knew. And that is really what the book's about, is going in, taking a chance, putting yourself into a situation in a life that is totally different from anything you know, and making it work just to do what you have to do for yourself. So, I think I've actually exhausted all my topics already. So I'm going to go ahead and read the prologue, just to give you a little taste. It's not very long, but please bear with me because I'm not the world's greatest out loud reader, even though I wrote it. Okay, the prologue from The Captain's Marshal, A Promise of Freedom. It is difficult to pinpoint the exact beginning of any story. For each character, there are parents who shaped her life and made her who she is, and grandparents who in turn influenced her parents, and so on. There are events that caused other events, which themselves were the effect of some previous event. For each blossom must be remembered the branch, the trunk, and the roots that run unendingly beneath her. But for all intents and purposes, since we must start somewhere, our story begins on a dock in Dartmouth Harbor late one summer night. A few young sailors quietly prepared an unnamed ship, rocking gently in the dark harbor, to sail. The ship still smelled of sawdust, and that light woody odor lingered in the noses of the boys as they went noiseless about their work. They slipped through the shadows as silent ghosts flitting over the deck. No one spoke a word of the journey they were about to take, but the gravity of their circumstances weighed heavily in the air. On the exquisite bow of the vessel, the silhouettes of two young girls were illuminated in the moonlight. They stood strong and steady against the dark sky, ready to begin their secret journey into the night, never to return again. The silver shades of the moon shone off their hair and garments. One dress was of emerald green, the other the deep, rich burgundy color of wine. They were cousins Saoirse and Giselle Marshall, and this mission was their doing. The beautiful new ship on which they were standing was the last creation of their fathers, George and Michael Marshall, the well-known shipwrights of Dartmouth Harbor. The Marshall twins had worked tirelessly, designing the ship for the King's Navy. It was to be their masterpiece. The elaborate and efficient design of the ship was a testament to the genius of the brothers. Unfortunately, fate did not intend for either of them to see their greatest work become a reality. They both lost their lives to the fierce sea before the ship was completed, one to a treacherous storm and the other from a blow to the head when a line snapped in the wind. Their mother saw that the work on the ship continued. The girls held their breath as the sails unfurled. The swooping sound of the heavy canvas unrolling stirred something in them. It beckoned their new life to begin. Through fear and doubt, they would stand firm and let the wind carry them on. It was 1661. In England, restoration of the monarchy has begun with the crowning of King Charles II. Portugal has given the monarch Tangier and Bombay as part of his marriage contract to his wife Catherine. John Evelyn has taken on the issue of pollution in London, and the heiresses of Marshall ships are about to take to sea. After a lifetime of longing to explore the oceans like their fathers before them, the Marshall girls were finally realizing this dream, but it had been a most upsetting chain of events that led them to this act. To discover what the chain of events was, and what happens after they set sail, pick up one of my books. And, well, I thank you very much. I don't really have anything else to say. So, if Mark wants to introduce Cassie, I will turn the microphone back over to him, and I thank you very much for your attention.